As a reminder, next week, Serenade to the Soul becomes Seen, Heard, Loved. If you're listening before June 21st, I'd love to invite you to our live virtual launch celebration at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Join our WhatsApp community through the link in the show notes to receive your Zoom link and event details. And there will also be special giveaways to help honor those in attendance. And be sure to follow the podcast so you don't miss the official first episode of Seen, Heard, Loved. Welcome to Serenade to the Soul, a yoga and wellness experience. I'm your host, JackieOM. I'm so honored to welcome today's guest, Noell Yanik. Noelle has spent nearly 2 decades in the wellness industry, and what I deeply respect about her work is that it's rooted in not just science, but in real life. She is a nationally recognized ISSA, International Sports Sciences Association pro trainer, a 500-hour registered yoga teacher, a sports nutritionist, and a pelvic floor specialist. She has been featured in women's health magazines as one of the top trainers in the U.S., appeared in Good Morning America, and served for years as the resident fitness expert on Fox's Good Day Charlotte. But beyond the credentials, Noelle's work is about empowerment, helping people feel strong, confident, and energized in their own skin. Today, we're talking about what it really means to care for our bodies without overwhelm, guilt, and without outsourcing our inner authority. Noelle, I'm so grateful you're here. Welcome to Serenade to the Soul. After all your years in this industry, what do you see people struggling with the most when it comes to their health and relationship with their bodies?
Gosh. I suppose I see a lack of relationship with the body. Mm-hmm. I see more of an outsourcing, like we said in the intro, of trying to understand using external sources to try to understand what's going on with their bodies instead of slowing down and taking a moment to diagnose on their own exactly what's going on.
So for someone who doesn't have the tools to go inward as such and are just outsourcing and looking for others for guidance, how do they begin to turn inward to understand the signals of their bodies and what disconnects them?
Through the breath and through stillness. Getting still first. Making sure that breath is functional and not dysfunctional. And I call breathing the foundation of movement. That's where the root of movement begins, and that while we're being still, the body is still just noticing that it's still moving. The lungs are expanding. The diaphragms are working for us in an autonomic way, in a way we're completely unaware of. So starting there with the breath and getting it to be functional and full is where I start with people who don't know where to begin.
I love that you go way back to the basics, to the most simple and free resource that we have, our breath. And it's so true. And I love that we're beginning here. When you hear the phrase returning home to the body, what does it mean to you when we come home to our body?
Well, I like to also call it landing the spaceship. Just like coming back, right? Because we can be so externally, again, focused that we're not even feeling our feet pressing into the floor.
Yeah.
We don't even have that connection. We don't even feel our fingers typing. We're just typing away. If it's a person that has a desk job, we're not connected in the body. So landing the spaceship, coming back to the body, and then moving from that place or speaking from that place, right? Because it can be that we're moving and then thinking, like I don't know how my boys do. Sometimes it seems like they're moving and not really. They're floppy, like they're not really aware of their limbs yet, right?
Yeah.
So It's like we're moving as adults around like that, where we just need to slow down and come back home again. And move from that place. And then there's also speaking from that place, or being aware of our thoughts, right? Once we get still, we can also address what's going on in our minds and have a better connection to what's going on in our hearts.
Yeah, absolutely. Stillness is the key. And I believe what everyone's craving right now, but also a little uncomfortable, a lot uncomfortable with, is just stopping. 'Cause for many of us, including myself, movement means like safety and security, getting things done. But
Yeah.
also, when I just be still, like in a seated meditation, simply be with my breath, it's my favorite. I could sit all day long
Yeah.
in silence.
All the
I
yogis could gather together and just meditate under
just
trees all day.
meditate. Yeah.
Mhm.
You talk about four pillars before
Yes.
everything else. So, this sense of devotion before productivity. You teach that spirituality, rest, nourishment, movement come before even relationships and work. Why is that order so important?
Yeah, because what we're creating in terms of our lives is coming from us. So if we're dysfunctional, if we're not connected, then and I do we're gonna, I know, talk about surrender,
Mhm.
but there is a certain aspect of control that we do have over the 3D, over this world, over our lives, and we want to be aware of exactly what we're creating. And if we're dysfunctional, if we don't have a good relationship with ourselves, um, first, and to our higher power, then it's likely that that dysfunction will bleed out into our lives. So that's why having that foundation of spirituality, it comes first before everything else.
Mm. Do you have a real life example of what you just said, when we don't have a connection to whatever spiritual source or framework that, everyone's a little bit different, but something beyond the
Yeah.
3D? And if we don't have that, how it bleeds out, the dysfunction can bleed out. What's an example of that?
My gosh, I have so many. And
Yeah.
there's like deep ones, and then there's superficial ones, like everyday ones. I'll say, in terms of depth, and I'll speak for myself, and although I've trained so many people through this process, um, for me, I had my first child when I was 21,
Hmm.
and I was 21 and 3 days old, and I gave him up for adoption.
Mm.
His birth father and I decided to do so.
Hmm.
And it was the most painful experience of my life. It was a mistake. Like,
Hmm.
looking back, like, I wish I could have done things differently. And so reconciling with something so deep like this and navigating through emotions is easier when you have a foundation to root yourself in, something to ground yourself in, core values to ground yourself in. So it's surrender is about, what do you believe is true in this world? Like, who do you believe in? Who do you not believe in? Just really understanding. And then also, if I'm not ultimately in control, then I release that control, that those things that I want to grip onto so tightly. It could
Hmm.
be my anger at myself toward the decision that I made when I was 21.
Mm.
Okay, I could want to grip onto that, or I could want to grip onto, road rage. The guy that yelled at me like earlier today.
Yeah.
That's like, let it go, like surrender.
Mhm.
I'm not in control. There's so this world is so complicated, beautifully so. There must be something greater than me,
Mhm.
that's orchestrating everything. So it's about trust, um, and yes, surrender, so that we're not trying to control every aspect of our lives, because it's impossible. We can't.
Yeah, absolutely, we can, and that's what sends us into dysfunction, right? Trying to control everything, and especially
Yes.
when it comes to our bodies too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Trying to control and do the things from external sources, like you've been mentioning, and returning to our internal environment, our inner needs, and for myself included, when it comes to, you could teeter on so many extremes when it comes to health for your body, like doing too much, doing too little,
Yep.
controlling too much, not controlling enough. And I believe that's part of the disconnect too, is trying to control, make things happen, but we're not robots. We're all unique, and there's tremendous wisdom in our bodies.
Right.
What does having an anchor for, like, the spirituality, this anchor, something to trust, support in physical health and in our physical bodies?
How does the anchor help us?
Mm-hmm. Like our spiritual, our higher self, our spiritual self. How does this anchor into us to support our physical health?
So, physical health is a 3D thing, right? It's something
Mm-hmm.
of this world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, not everyone's going to agree that there's a higher power.
Yeah.
Although, in my experience, while there's not common agreement on what the higher power is, I actually haven't run into anyone that I've trained, and I've trained like thousands of women that don't believe in higher power. Most people believe in higher. This one is easier for people to conceptualize, that they're not ultimately in control,
Mm-hmm.
right? But like, something we can all agree on regardless is that these bodies come from the earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
The minerals that we're made up of come from this earth.
Mm-hmm.
Precisely. We're all from the elemental table, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So this body needs grounding, and how do we do that? Like, connection to the earth, to connection to the planet that it comes from. How do we do that? So, having core value like this, like having a spiritual practice, regardless of what it is, practicing surrender every day.
Mm.
And if things go awry in your life, you have a rule book to follow. Um, you have motivation for continuing healthy habits, because a spiritual practice and surrender also says, I'm here for a reason. I
Yeah.
have purpose,
Yes.
is part of it. So you
Mm-hmm.
trust that your feet are on this ground for a reason.
Mm.
What does this do? That calms the nervous system. It reduces occurrences of depression. It's a
Mm-hmm.
pick me up, and it's a fact of our life. Like, if I have breath today, and this is surrender, I must trust that I'm here for a reason.
Mm.
Okay, you could be so depressed, and people out there who are struggling right now can just start there.
Yeah.
I guess I'm here for because I have breath.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
if someone else is in control, if something else is in control, I just simply wouldn't be here if
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't supposed to be. So I'm here
Yes.
for a reason. So all of these things are anchors that regulate the nervous system. Okay, the meat suit, the 3D, right? Like, what do you want
Yeah.
to call this thing? Like, this sack of
Yeah.
bones, this nervous system, this circulatory system. However you want to think of it, it has to be like, think of like a magnet drawing your body closer to the core of the earth. It has to be rooted. When we
Mm.
become like, and we talk about like heightened, like unrooted, the things that we can do to anchor ourselves again are coming back to our core beliefs and to surrender. We can navigate difficult emotional situations and emotions while preventing harmful choices. Like when we're in the funk,
Mm-hmm.
like through surrender
Mm-hmm.
again, and through a spiritual practice.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a way to protect the body.
I really love everything you're pointing at. It's just elevating my heart and getting me excited.
Yeah,
Um,
good. It
so
should. It
when
reduces stress. It's everything.
Yeah, and speaking of grounding and connecting to earth, our bodies also need reset. Let's talk about sleep, because oftentimes when we want to accomplish more, do control, be productive, often the first thing to go is rest and sleep. Why is that the first thing that many people give up?
Oh man. Okay, so sleep is, when it comes to our health, it is, I have these things in order. It's number one. Spirituality is number one, but then there's this ordering of sleep, nutrition, and movement. And they are in order like that. And sleep, the first one is the one that I happen to be the worst at. And and it's been since I was a kid. And I just want to be awake and I want to be doing things. I don't really have a reason other than that. Like I just want to be awake. And so I wrestle with sleep. The reason why it is so important is because it is the reset for our bodies. So our bodies have a cellular cleaning process that begins somewhere. So we have a circadian rhythm. Do the viewers know what that is? Or
let's go ahead and touch on that. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So our bodies, again, we're talking about the meat suit, this life in 3D in this world. And what's best for the body is to be awake when the sun rises, and to go to sleep when the sun sets. And when the sun sets, soon after, around 10 p.m. to be precise, the body begins a cellular cleansing process. Although it is regenerating cells all day long, let me say that, but particularly in your digestive system, it begins around 10 p.m. So that's why we want to stop eating several hours before bed, unless of course you haven't eaten all day. We could go into details there. But you want to set yourself up properly for rest so that this cellular regeneration process has energy. Okay, because if you're digesting food while you sleep, then your body is lending energy toward digestion instead of repairing cells, cellular walls. You think about like your stomach, like the wall of your stomach. Being repaired every so often, like 3 months, or basically the whole body regenerates itself almost completely every 7 years. All of our cells are regenerating themselves daily. The skin, I think, is every 3 weeks. You can Google all this stuff, like how long it takes each system to regenerate itself. That is mainly happening while you sleep. There's also neural cleansing. There's like when you wake up and you haven't slept well, you feel your foggy brain, right? So there's the fact that we didn't get that cellular reset upstairs in the brain too, in the think tank, where we really need that power to focus. So the long-term impact of poor sleep is totally detrimental to health. It causes dysfunction and disease. It causes short-term dysfunction and disease long-term. And so it's just a fact of the matter. The body needs regular rest.
So what does quality rest look like beyond just, okay, I got my 8 hours in?
Right.
And for when you wake up and you feel great and ready to go and the brain's refreshed and ready to take on the world, what creates that? What are what creates the quality rest that we need to regenerate?
Not eating about 2 to 3 hours before bed. Again, this has to do with cellular, like the body lending itself to the energy that's required to sleep. Remember, you need calories to sleep. You need energy to sleep. So if you've got something else going on, like digestion, then it's not going to lend its energy toward healing. So, I had a knee surgery 3 weeks ago. Rest is highly important for me right now because my body's actually healing. So more than healing my digestive tract or anything else that could be off base, it's going in and taking care of that. Other things that you can do to enhance your sleep, because that's the question, right? How to get quality sleep? Is that not what you're asking? Okay.
Yes.
So no fights before bed, guys. Okay, it's like, the whole going to bed angry thing is a real thing, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to do that, but you also don't want to raise your voices about, 1 to 2 hours before bed. We're trying to get into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest. That's the state that we want the body to be in. So we want to prepare the body before bed. Another way to get into the parasympathetic nervous system is a warm shower. So an awakening thing we use in the morning is cold, and at night we can take baths and relax. Another thing I do is turn down the lights all throughout the house. I turn down the lights about 1 to 2 hours before bed. You can use salt lamps or anything that's letting off more of a red or orangish light versus blue to help our eyes adjust, sending signals to the cells that it is time. It's time to unwind and let go.
Curious about the red, orange versus blue light. I mean, we all hear the blue light's not good for bedtime, but what do you know the science behind that and why red, orange supports our sleep?
Yeah. I don't really. I know it has to do with the light waves that hit our brain. And I know that for me, when I started wearing these kind of funny looking glasses because they are orangish at night, it helps shut my brain off. And so that's just anecdotal evidence right there. Like there's, in terms of studies written up on not consuming blue light and consuming red light before bed, I'm not clear if there are. However, turning down the lights before bed, regardless, is going to be something reminiscent of what our ancestors did that did not have or had candles, for example. So again, going back to the circadian rhythm, trusting that the pattern that the world is in is the one that our bodies need to follow. So when the sun goes down, we start turning down the lights.
And with eating too, right? I suppose so. When the sun's down, you don't want to be eating while the sun's down because then everything's slowing down, getting ready for rest. Is that correct?
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. So simple, but yet how complicated the fast-paced Western world has made things, sending most of us into dysfunction or like a constant battle of balance.
Yeah, isn't it crazy?
Yeah, it's so crazy.
We forget the animal part of who we are. Like it's animalistic. It's like be awake and then eat your. I'm sure we'll go into food, but eat your largest meal. Like during like the hottest part of the day is a good one. If you want to. We don't have to be so rigid about food, but that's when Agni or heat is the highest. And so that's when your digestive powers are going, or powers, your digestive abilities are going to be greatest.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Really, a lot of sense.
It just makes sense.
Yeah, it just makes sense. Yeah. Well, let's get into nourishment. How do you approach anti-inflammatory eating? So that's what many people are afraid of, like the carbs and the sugars, and without creating fear or rigidity around food. I know I definitely related to this. I've tried all sorts of diets, not just for like weight loss, but also because I'm autoimmune and just trying to feel better in my body. But then I'll get wrapped up in the the frameworks of whatever diet, and it could create more stress. And that's the stress is just as bad as the sugar and the carbs.
Exactly.
So yeah, do you have an approach for anti-inflammatory diets, or how do you approach nutrition with yourself and with your clients?
Yeah. All kinds of ways. So it depends on the individual. But I'm with you. I have an I have an autoimmune condition as well. And so that's why anti-inflammatory diets became so important for me. I think when I'm speaking to my fellow autoimmune people, be it Crohn's, be it ulcerative colitis, be it lupus, whatever they come in with, it is the message that food heals.
Yeah.
So it's this mind shift that is about like not about what we can't have. It's about the abundance of what we can have and that it heals. So let's go back. Let's talk about the earth again. and that the answers of how we should be living are a lot of the time right in front of us. Now, we could go into nuances like the fact that we're depleting our soil, right? And so our food is less nutrient dense and all. And these things are true.
Yeah.
But as it stands today and right now, we do. So the future, we should be cognizant of this. But as it stands right now, we all have access to the proper foods, proper anti-inflammatory, fresh foods. And if you look at it as medicine, that should shift everything. Now, when I start to integrate intuitive eating into this, we talk about what foods are worth it to you. So I'll ask you. So what's a food that's really worth it for you? And it doesn't have to be a health food. I'm talking like your favorite foods here.
Friggin' sandwich. I got good sandwich with all the things.
Yeah. I mean, so good. Like one of the best answers I got from a client was pumpkin cheesecake with a coffee on my porch in the morning. I was like, exactly. Like, what are your this exploration here of what's worth it? Like your sandwich, is your arsenal. Like mine is homemade chocolate chip cookies. I also really like French fries, and they have to be good ones. If they're not like the good ones, then I have to be honest with myself. Okay, this is not like the good ones. But if they're the good ones, I'm eating them. Okay, and this is your 80-20. This is your balance. You are not I teach my ladies, and I do train men sometimes too, that we're queens. Okay, so we want to think like we do a lot. Like we're all managing a lot. And we're really worth it. Like queens don't walk around and eat scraps. You're not going to eat your kids' goldfish anymore. Okay, it's just you're a queen. What are you doing? Come on, like stop it. You don't even want that. That's not even the if you could eat whatever you wanted, that's not even on the list. So you're going to get what you want. You're going to eat what you want, and you're going to practice sitting down, parasympathetic nervous system, right? So you can digest. And you're going to practice eating these foods that are off of the anti-inflammatory label. Like, because when we get into my program and the diet that's here, it is like an anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory diet, right? And it's strict, but this is medicine. And we got to be honest with ourselves, especially when it comes to autoimmune. If we're not in a flare, why are we following this with such rigidity and giving ourselves heck about the fact that we didn't follow it that day? What's it matter? So you got a little, okay, fine. You woke up and you can feel a little puffy. Okay. We know how to regulate that. Get some movement in, get the lymph drainage system going. You're good. You're good. And life is short. Eat the foods that you want to eat, but know what they are. Be clear.
What is, you mentioned your diet and your program. Can we talk about that?
So if I have someone with a history of eating disorders, I do intuitive eating. Okay. So if we're talking eating disorders, then any regulation around food, these ladies are already counting. They've been counting calories their whole life. They can't even sit down without calculating what's in front of them. So we go straight into intuitive eating. But with people who really want to get real about what's going in there. So that's where I was when I was 31 and I got diagnosed with my autoimmune condition. I was ready to take the reins. Okay. And we're going to talk about control. We're going to talk about the things we can control, right? Because we can't control everything in life. We can't control, like who we might lose, loved ones we might lose. There's so many things. Maybe even what if you've been on an anti-inflammatory diet your whole life and then you develop cancer somehow, right? These are not guarantees that if we follow these diets that we won't get sick. That's not what this is. This is about so you can feel your best today. This is like, how good do I want to feel today? Right? So when it comes to the diet that I lay out, the first rule is I plan and prep every blank. Most people write Sunday. All right. So you're gonna know what you're eating throughout the week. Then the second rule is all about what goes into your mouth. So it's all about the food that you eat. And it's eat the rainbow. You keep it real. Keep it real, eat the rainbow. All right. So that just means that I'm shopping on the perimeter of the grocery store and I buy real foods. Mm-hmm. I'm not down the Americanized aisles. Okay. Mm-hmm. So every day when I'm looking at these food journals, I'll say, okay, all right, this is good, but I don't see red. Like, show me an apple in here. I don't see a berry. Okay. So when I'm looking at the food journals, I got to see the rainbow. All right. Mm-hmm. This is how we're talking about the elemental table again. We've got to get the minerals and nutrients in that this body is made of in order for us to sustain the vessel, the body, mm-hmm. to show gratitude that you actually have a body. Yeah. You know, you've got to actually, you know, like this is a way to display that you love your body is by feeding it these nutrients and minerals. Okay. So the next one is hard. 25 grams max added sugar daily. This one's a life changer though, if you can do this for a little while. So added sugars do not include fruit.
Yeah, because fruit has a lot.
Fruit has a lot, and I just can't do it because of how I am and who I am and how I teach. And I just can't take away like the real food from people. Sure, like a mango is like a fat bomb and a sugar bomb, you know, mm-hmm. But I can't do it. I gotta keep the real food in there. You guys can have as much of that as you want, but it's 25 grams max added sugars daily. So think your chocolate, think your cookie. This allows you to have it.
Why 25 max? Why is that the number?
Because I've played around with like 40 is like too much and then like mm-hmm. 15 is too little. Mm-hmm. And I'm very careful about being realistic. I really want mm-hmm. this to be like an exercise for people. This diet is typically 4 weeks long, by the way. And then in 4 weeks, we pull back and say, what parts of this diet do we want to continue with? And what do we not want to continue with? So 25 grams max added sugar is just the number that I found people were really able to, like I'd see 27 some days, then I'd see like 18 and it's all like right around that number. And it's really minimal when it comes to overall sugar intake daily.
I really appreciate this framework. Let's shift into intuitive eating. This is a concept that I was working with a nutritionist a couple years ago. And then in 2025, I gave birth in 2022 and I gained like half my weight with my kids. Like it was a lot. And I just didn't feel great carrying around that much extra weight. And after I left the hospital, I was hoping like all this weight would come off. No, it was just like 8 pounds. I mean, not 8 pounds, the added weight of my children. And that was it. And like I had all this extra weight. But I was lenient with myself for the first 3 months. And then the new year hit. And then I went on this like really like rigid diet of just control, and it was effective in shedding the weight, but it also created a lot of dysfunction within me, just like the counting calories. And I have a history of eating disorders too, since the late teens to late 20s, so about a decade. So I had like all these things around food, and then I had gut issues. And so that's why I started seeing a dietitian, and we talked about intuitive eating, and it just seemed like a big exhale for my body. And then that's when I started eating the sandwiches and the things that made me feel good. And like how you pointed out, eat what's worth it. Like if like the French fries that are super, super good, not the crappy ones that don't taste awesome and that is worth it, you know? So like eating mindfully, but also choosing like, do I really want to consume that just to consume it? Do I want to eat my kids' scraps to like consume it? Yeah. And I've enjoyed that process. And it's also been very healing about me, not freaking out about, oh, I'm a little puffy today. Oh, I gained a couple pounds here and there. It just we naturally fluctuate. So, what does intuitive eating look like for someone who wants guidance, not control, or just intuitive eating in general? How do we start?
Love it. Like, one of my favorite things to talk about. The first thing I go over is to know your hunger and satiation signals. So where in your body do you feel hunger? And what's the difference between the sensations of hunger, thirst, and fatigue? So those three are typically intermingled and confused in the body. Hunger, thirst, and fatigue. Hunger. So what's the difference? Like, if I, so doing some body scanning, noticing where in the body I feel hunger, and noticing the satiation, or like noticing the difference between the sensations of hunger, thirst, and fatigue.
And I forgot about this exercise. Actually, yeah, when I first started it, I bought a book. I didn't go through all the workbook, but I remember not knowing what my hunger signals were. And I cried about it a little bit because I was like so disconnected. I started ignoring the hunger signals. Yeah.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't trust hunger. What a mess.
Yeah.
You know, like how, again, like dishonoring to the body. The next one is intuitive meal timing. And this one leads into hunger. So I asked my ladies, like, what % hungry do you want to be before you eat? So give me percentage, like for you, what % hungry do you like to be before you eat?
I've never thought about percentage wise. The first number that came to my mind was 50, so I'm just gonna go there.
50? Yeah. So you want to like okay, so you're 50, which is good because then you don't wait until you're, at 85. Yeah. For me, it's like I learned that I do like to feel hungry. So like for me, it's like 75% hungry. And then that's when you eat. So no more eating because you're bored or because it's breakfast time. This is intuitive eating, so this is different. Like or because everyone else is snacking at a party. Like we don't do that anymore. Like are we getting the signal, and then are we that % hungry? That's what we eat. That's what we eat.
Yeah.
That's the time. That's the go time.
Yeah. And better to eat before you're like 100% hungry because, well, me, I'm definitely a hangry person. Like, I will get angry if I'm hungry. You don't want to talk to me.
Yes. me too. Me too. And then there's like a couple more here. Then I have like satisfaction, which is what you went through. So foods that serve you and foods that don't serve you. I've had people say that, like, recently I had a client sharing that she can't do overly spiced foods. And I think I understand what she's meaning. She means when it's like all of it, when it's like savory and sweet, and like that really sends her spiraling. If it's like too much flavor, it just sends her craving like more and more and more. Like it whatever it does, like chemically inside of her, it doesn't leave her feeling satisfied. It leaves her feeling like completely like unfulfilled.
Yeah. Interesting.
Everyone's different.
Everyone's different. Yeah.
For this one, it's like foods that serve me, foods that do not serve me. And this is okay. Are there foods that make you feel heavy in your stomach? Like, are there for you? Like,
oh my gosh, yeah.
Like having a list. So I have them write out a list. What are those foods? Causes like constipation or diarrhea or fatigue. Yeah. What are those? What are those foods? But then there's foods that you feel energized from. Like, what are those? What are those foods? So we're getting clear on something, because intuition can sound very, like, intuitive eating can sound very fluffy, but it's actually very systematic. You already know, you write your own rules. Like, what are the foods that serve your body, energize you? What are the ones that weigh you down? We're going to get clear. And then I have eat. And the way that I teach people to eat is to fill their belly halfway with food, a quarter of the way with water, and to leave it 1/4 empty.
I love that. Leave it a little bit empty.
That's right.
Because then I would imagine to prevent the sluggishness and the just the so if you eat too much, you don't want to move, or at least I don't, and I know others can be the same too. But what's the science behind leaving it a quarter empty?
Not here. This is all about tapping into the sensation of the fullness of your belly. Just can we get there? Can we body scan, notice where the stomach is, and notice if that food is inching upward toward the esophagus, right? Like is it almost there? Because the stomach can only manage so much. So that's what that one is about committing to not overfilling, although we do. And of course part of the intuitive eating is about, like, after I teach people how to eat, then we start talking about what happens when we mess up. Yeah. Yeah. So, but while you eat, you want to try to eat, and this stuff is so funny for moms, but it's in a relaxed environment and without distraction. I just think it's so funny to talk to moms with young kids, particularly. They're like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, there is no such thing.
There's no such thing.
It's so interesting. Yeah, I try to do the sit still, quiet, breathe, count the chews, but it's literally impossible to eat with my kids and feel calm because they're just kids.
They're kids.
They can't sit there and be calm themselves. And so,
yes.
And I could feel my nervous system get rattled up when the internal battle starts, like, oh, I'm trying to create calm in my belly and my food and appreciate the process, but yet all this is going on. So it's a tough balance. What do you tell moms?
So something I did when the kids were young, because my youngest is 9 now, and it does change, and like I would eat after them.
Yep.
Or before them. So like not like, and now you're taking away your like family meal or whatever, but I don't look, I could actually enjoy my food and be present with it and smell it and notice the colors and it is real what we're talking about here. It's not pseudoscience. You do want, if you eat in the parasympathetic state, then you will digest more fully and more effectively, so that nutrients get processed and put in the right places in your body. If you eat in the sympathetic nervous system, yes, it still leaves your stomach and goes through your liver and so on. But it's your blood pressure is all high. Everything is erratic and heightened. So the nutrient displacement isn't. It's not an ideal system anymore. When you're relaxed, there's more energy that can be lent toward digestion. So really, grace is what I tell them, like those two things. Try to eat like before or after them, and grace. It's not. It's not going to be perfect.
No, it's definitely not going to be perfect.
Okay. Yeah, that's it.
I try and do one meal when I'm not eating with them, and then another meal when I am eating with them. But the way that I work for myself is I create a smaller portion when I eat with my family and my kids. And then I'll eat more a little bit after if I need it. So I'm not shoving down a good amount of food when I'm stressed out. That's my personal technique, but
good. And knowing them, like just knowing, like what I teach you guys is to know what they see. You already know them. And a lot of people don't realize, and you've been through the trainings and stuff, so you know yours, but like that this is our confidence. Like that's why we don't have to listen to the food noise, the food industry noise, the diet noise, because we literally have the diet that works best for us.
Yeah.
With intuitive eating. So what's it matter what everyone else is talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. How do you help those who struggle with eating disorders, or to shift into intuitive eating? What are the common themes that you come across through coaching your clients?
Mm-hmm. Eating disorders are really tough. I'll say that. That is that is there's so much control around food there that if the individual wants to remain in control, they are not going to do what we talk about. You know, like it is a surrender on their end to try something new. I have had success with a few, like I've trained so many and have had success with a few. And it just really has to do with whether or not the individual wants to try living another way. Now, a lot of it is to find pleasure. Okay, so this is like, sorry, yeah, I didn't know if you're like, because this people are going to be like, what is she talking about? But with eating disorders, what I really try to focus on is how else in life they experience pleasure and where they feel it. Okay. And to plug into a regular practice, a daily one of pleasure. So I actually kind of take the focus off of food. We do these intuitive eating exercises, but the fact of the matter is with eating, if it's intense anorexia or bulimia, when we just talked to, I said you have your own eating rules. They have their own eating rules. So I could tell them how to eat all day long, but they're going to do what they want to do. So it is psychological. So focusing on pleasure, focusing on purpose. My gosh, the ones I've had success with are ones that I've taken through purpose-driven exercises.
Oh, so powerful. Yeah.
So one of them now is a nutritionist, oddly, who helps people with eating disorders.
Yeah.
I mean, understanding that our wounds are our testimony to the world, if we can get them to that place, helping them understand that it's not about perfection anymore, like this pursuit that they're going after. So they don't have to have perfect diets. They don't have to follow their own their own version of a perfect diet. Exactly. So there's no like messing up anymore. It's not about that pursuit. It's about finding ease around in their everyday life, and then allowing space for mishaps, and buoyancy, like learning how to come back, what happens when I divert, to get them away from harmful, harmful, I was going to say activities. That's not what I'm talking about. Harmful actions against themselves once they fall out of line. Is that it starts to become goals around that pleasure, self-regulation, purpose.
I love how you brought up pleasure again. When I was shifting into intuitive eating a couple of years ago, I was meeting with a nutritionist and then another holistic person, Catherine. I interviewed her last year. She does a lot of Ayurveda and all that. She asked me a question about like joy and pleasure and related to eating. I forget how she worded it, but that was another thing that made me teary eyed because I didn't. It was so long since I enjoyed eating. It was just so many rules took the pleasure and joy away. And when we can return to that, just that there's so much deeper connection to the body, and this is just three really powerful points you're bringing up: pleasure, purpose, like mission motivated. When you're mission motivated, then that's real, and it aligns you to what's right for you, and then our wounds are our testimonies to the world. It's part of it. It's our purpose, right?
It's our purpose. It's our purpose. And then what happens is when they start on that trajectory of purpose, they start needing energy. They start needing to sleep. And their whole life can't be about food anymore. And it's quite a healthy segue, like transition. It's like taking a right turn when you had been going straight ahead the whole time. It's so that's how, when it comes to eating disorders, that's how I've been successful in the past, is really not talking a lot about food at all.
Yeah, because it's not about the food.
It's not about because it's not about the food. It's about their focus in life. I mean, golly, like leave the food alone, right? The food's totally innocent. Let's leave it alone. Let's direct the focus elsewhere. And then all of a sudden, it's interesting when they do need to be sleeping well because they've got to get up and show up at work. Then things change for them.
Yeah, definitely. So your last pillar, movement. How can movement become supportive rather than punishing? Some of us, like when we feel puffy or when we, need to make up for an overindulging day or whatever it is that may motivate us to move in a way that's punishment. Like, how can we move in ways that are supportive and maybe even intuitive? Or what are your general thoughts about movement?
Yeah. I love all of this, right? Because it's all about kindness to the body. It's about loving our bodies. Movement is supportive. Movement, so you think about your muscular system in terms of it's wrapping your bones. It's supporting your bones. Yeah. So bone density is relative to muscular strength. So another way I could say that is like the stronger your muscles, the more dense your bones are. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So with osteopenia and osteoporosis being such a problem among females, we really need to address this, proactively and make sure that our muscle tone is staying supple and strong and vibrant, and then it will help sustain like the vessel, the meat suit, the body. Right. So it is supportive. So if you're talking in terms of like discomfort versus pain and like, hurting ourselves, like, okay, part of my thing there, and, I have no idea how you react to this, but like sometimes movement is uncomfortable. I told you I was just in Bikram for the first time for the first time since this summer because my kids have sports. So I wasn't able to go, and I love the practice of Bikram yoga or Hot 26, whatever you want to call it. And, half moon, right? Freaking kills me. So it kills me. Okay. Like it's so uncomfortable, but I don't do it to where it hurts, but surely I'm managing discomfort the entire time. Yeah. And so this whole, like when people start to when I get into body love conversations and people want to talk about how do we move in a way where we're not like punishing ourselves and it's not hurtful. I'm like, well, hold on. This distinction between hurt versus discomfort needs to be brought up. Yes. Like it should be uncomfortable sometimes. If you are about to start your period, if you have a headache, okay, if you have a headache, please do not exercise. That's not what your body needs. You need to lower your blood pressure. If you have a headache, if you do anything to higher your blood pressure, the headache's going to become worse. There are just times where it's not time to get uncomfortable. So no, but getting uncomfortable is part of what makes the meat suit strong. So embracing the fact that it shouldn't feel like so easy all the time is important.
What questions should we be asking our bodies before choosing how we move?
Body scan. How do I feel today? What places in my body feel numb? Like I can't feel them. What places in my body feel tense? Like they're taking all of my attention right now. Get in touch with where you're at and move from there and seek to create balance. So I train through center line training. So like between your toes, the inside of your heels, between your knees, your inner thighs, all the way up through the belly button, chin, like through the top of the head. So I always talk about center line. And it's always about making sure that you feel balanced from one side to the other, and starting there. And then some days you're going to feel like you can throw around some heavy weight responsibly while moving through center line and breathing. Remember the foundation of movement. You're going to breathe. You know, like have that diaphragmatic breathing happen every time you press, if you want to snatch a dumbbell overhead. Because some people are like, I thought we were talking about yoga and now I'm talking about snatch. But that's the way that I train, because we do weights too. So when you pull a dumbbell overhead, your abs draw in, pelvic floor draws up. And if I see like dysfunction in the breathing, then I stop the client, or in the form. So you're never moving in a way where you're out of line with the body and moving in poor form. Just stop. Just stop.
Yeah.
Just draw back. Lower the weight. Do something different. This is where it can become damaging. Yeah. Like diminishing returns. Like there are no returns.
None. Yeah. Yeah. I really appreciate how you were talking about movement as kindness to the body, and you know, in general in society, and for women, you tapped on this. As we age, we lose you know, the bone density, muscular tone. For me personally, I just notice my body's so much happier when my muscles are strong, and I'm paying attention and I'm engaging them. It also just helps with scoliosis and the slip discs and all that, just to be stronger. I feel my food digesting better. I'm just happier. I have better posture. So when it comes to, or for women, what are general guidelines that we can follow for strength training, or resistance training, or what things should we be mindful of as we age?
Yeah. Things we should be mindful of. You know, how about this? So there's functional movement. Let's do like push up, pull up, squat, and rotation. Okay, that's functional movement, right? So now we're getting into like PT, like physical therapy. So training a pull up is really we need to do this. So I always joke with my clients and say, because I don't know, maybe zombie apocalypse. Like, I don't know. What if you need to pull yourself up? What if there's a situation where you need to pull yourself up? Like, at least give me one. So every individual that comes in here, we get her at least one pull up. Okay. And most people, once you get the one, the reality is that the other ones come naturally. So pull up, train your pull up. All right. Now we got to we just pulled. So now let's push. So push up, train your push-ups. I can't believe the amount of people who come in here and still haven't gotten that right. You know, YouTube, get in there, get your push-up right. All right. And this is a full workout that I'm giving you. Pull up, push up, and then squat. I mean, I think it's mainly yogis that are listening. So people are good in the hips here, right? I mean, like a lot of people aren't, but yogis can squat, like get it down into malasana, and they push into crow, and great. Just stay mobile in the hips. Now for yogis, just grab some weight, you know, grab 2 dumbbells, put them between your legs while you squat, and then come up. So start building your glutes a little bit. The glutes are the biggest muscles in the body. They support the spine. They are at the fulcrum of the body. They're the middle point of the body. Make sure that they're the strongest. Okay. They're already the biggest, but they support like all the functions in the body, you know, and they're protecting the sacrum and sciatic nerve. They're really important. So get in there, grab some weights for your glutes. And then the last one that I'll talk about is hip thrust. I like hip thrust. So if you can use a barbell, do that. That one is exclusively working your glutes without building your quads or your hamstrings. Again, we all need strong glutes for posture purposes, really, is what it comes down to.
Yeah. Gosh, I hardly think about the glutes. I'm glad you're talking about this. While we're on the topic, how about let's also mention pelvic floor, because that's also another important one too. What are your what's your knowledge and advice for pelvic floor?
Yeah, so pelvic floor dysfunction happening mainly after having baby, but certainly men can have problems there too. So what we want to do is on the inhale, fill the pelvic bowl with breath. So basically, we're going to heal it with breathing first. I should say that, you know. And when you inhale, you're filling the pelvic bowl completely. It's like you have a balloon, and you're inhaling and you're filling the pelvic bowl, drawing your breath all the way down. And then when you exhale, it's like you're squeezing your hip points together and your pelvic floor up. But now I want you to draw your ribs down as you continue to exhale and draw that breath all the way through your spine and out through your nostrils again. And this is how you close up or heal the dysfunction on a deep muscular level. So this is third layer muscle we're talking with the pelvic floor and then the transverse abdominals. Those are your corset muscles. They run around your body like a corset does. And when you exhale, they should draw in too. And what I want you to do is master this breath of exhaling, drawing the pelvic floor up and the transverse abdominals in simultaneously to create what I call, when we get into weightlifting, your weight belt. So you know how people put a weight belt on, like when they're lifting weights? We don't need one because we're going to use our muscles in order to create that protection.
Yeah.
Okay. And it happens on the exhale breath, drawing the pelvic floor up, transverse abdominals in. And now the body, you can move in any direction without hurting yourself. Forwards, backwards, sideways. Once you have the bandha lock. See, the yogis know about these things.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
And gosh, it's not easy to practice pelvic floor engagement. It really takes a lot of effort and stillness, really, just to, like, at first to get knowledge and to get comfortable being still with breath and feeling into the pelvic floor and locking the bandha, the mula bandha, your pelvic floor, your root lock. Do you have a video, like a YouTube video on instructing this or demonstrating it? Awesome. We'll link that in the show notes for all of you.
Sure.
It's a lot to think about. The pelvic floor is the base of our core, and then all the other aspects of the core that we need to engage. And yeah, so we'll definitely link it up. Yeah,
it really is, and people always like afterward feel taller, you know, because you're correcting the muscles on that third level, like on the base level. So you're hugging the spine, and then all of a sudden you're sitting taller, and you're breathing deeper. So it feels so good doing these exercises. But we eventually want to get to the point where we can activate while we're moving, while we're lifting weights, and that's the goal. Or doing yoga. Both. Yeah. Both.
Embodiment. So let's talk about women and overgiving. Why do you think so many women struggle to prioritize their own health without guilt?
Oh, I love women. Because we are nurturers, and it comes very naturally for us to understand the needs of the people around us. And it feels good to use our, God-given resources, which is nurturance, right? It just feels good to do that. But the well can run dry.
Yeah.
So what do we do? You know, like it is about. I do this meditation of giving and receiving, where like you notice like you imagine everything that you give coming out of your right palm. And then everything, like just energetically that you've given coming back to you in the left palm. Now, it's not going to be from the people you gave out to. It's not going to be the exact actions you did. Like if you're a good present giver, it doesn't mean that you're going to get presents back. It just means that energetically you will be filled back up again. So again, faith, surrender, and to just notice how the body feels after we do this practice. And so many women will cry when we do this practice of giving and receiving. And what I end up finding is, yes, what they end up telling me is that their receptor is broken. And so I really love this meditation because it's a practice of trying to feel like, you know, even just heat in the left palm come about, or like, and just imagining the energy coming back to you. Because I think a lot of us do have like energy coming back to us where we can be filled up, but we forget to open ourselves to receiving. No one taught us how to, or no one talked to us about this. So just like creating some awareness around this. It could be as simple as learning how to take a compliment, right? Like that could be a way that we're learning to receive. Or when the husband says, I'll cook dinner tonight, instead of being like, for me, I'm going to be like, but it's not going to taste good, So I don't know if that, right? I'm like, I could let him cook dinner, but but the thing is, how much energy do I have? Like tapping into the energy tank, right? For myself and noticing where I'm at and taking help, saying yes when someone offers it.
Yeah. Gosh, I want to try this meditation. I'm excited. You have a YouTube video for that too, or?
I don't have a YouTube video for that one. That one is one that I'll bust out in the moment. When I can tell someone is overwhelmed. Because I train a lot of moms and a lot of working moms, and it gets to be a lot.
This is one of my struggles right now. Is the balance between giving and receiving and feeling depleted and exhausted and yeah. But I mean, I can answer this next question for myself. But what does let's go back to the body that we've been talking about, this meat suit. How does chronic overgiving show up in the body?
Oh, dry hair, brittle nails.
Oh my gosh.
Dry eyes and skin, fatigue, of course, lack of energy. It looks like mineral loss. And it is depletion is what happens. And we do it to ourselves.
Yeah.
We do it to ourselves. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, I'm the worst. So I'm also a triathlete. Look, there have been so many times where, and I'm 42 years old. So it was just this summer where I was like, okay, so you're going to take a year off and you're going to be okay. And it has to do with my knee. I was having problems with my knee. Yeah. So it looks like the body creates dysfunction like my knee, I think is what it looks like, right? Where like you get forced to slow down. Yeah. Right? So you have all of these precursors, like I was talking about, brittle hair, like dry hair, brittle nails, where you can see the loss of mineral density. But then you keep going. And then, I ended up with a knee surgery. It wasn't a major one, but still it's my body talking to me. Mm-hmm. And I now I'm at a place where I have to reconsider my movement patterns altogether, So what can we do before then? Just like what you were saying about where you're at, is there anything that you can stop doing? Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything that comes to mind?
Well, the first one that came to my mind, and because I'm working on sleep too, like getting back to getting good quality sleep, so I can live my purpose and show up for my mission and my family. But I am so productive and creative once everyone's asleep and it's night. There's no noise, and I lose time, and I just go and I do my creative projects. At night, and all of a sudden it's been hours and there goes my sleep. So I've been shifting how I approach that, and when else can I get this creative time in? Also, just accepting help too is really good, but also not expecting it. But presence over perfection. Boundaries.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about for you, something that came to mind that I've done at times when my kids were younger? Could you get a hotel room for a day?
I've been dreaming about this. I love that you mentioned. I think about this all the time, but I've been too afraid to ask because everything would shut down.
Right. Yeah. And the reality is you would have that time that you need to be creative. My thing was always that but I got over myself. I finally ended up doing this, and I was afraid that I wouldn't feel creative on the days that I booked the hotel.
Yeah.
I would like look at my budget, see what I could afford, and make sure that they were in beautiful places, like
Yeah.
inspired. Like I made it so that I was inspired. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yes.
Like that it overlooked like mountains or water.
Uh-huh.
And I would get like in silence, girl, you can get so much done,
So much. Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and then we're
Yeah.
not waiting for everyone to go to sleep.
Mhm.
Because I'm akin to you in this way. And it is this wrestling of like, come on, like we're up to good things here. Like
Yeah.
how do we do this without losing our mineral density and our
Yeah.
energy?
Yeah.
And that's one that came to mind. So maybe like ask about that one, if you could get like a full, like I'm talking a night where you stay there the night and into the next day, like just a Jackie retreat.
Yeah, thank you. This is motivating me because I've been dreaming about it. A lot of things I'm healing right now, I'm realizing it's because and I'm a sensitive, maybe like a very sensitive body and woman. So I need isolation and quiet and just me time to heal and show up as my best self. But I've had zero of that,
Yeah.
really, since the kids were born. And I'm not complaining, but I'm realizing why I feel depleted and exhausted,
Yeah.
because I don't have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you look at your calendar and do it like, I don't know if once a quarter is too much, you know, like you would like have to like figure it out. But then you realize you're asking your partner or like mom and dad,
Hmm.
if they're around, or whoever like you can get to help. You're not asking them for that much. When you look at
Yeah.
it like that in the grand scheme of a year and what it'll do for you.
Yeah.
So I would get so much done when I would book a hotel in a
Yeah.
pretty place, you know,
Yeah.
like not like whatever. Do people should do what they can afford, but like
Yeah.
not, it wasn't Holiday Inn. I wanted a
Yeah.
good view.
Yeah. Yeah. This is great. This is going on my list right now. To
Good. I think that
my
it's important for us to think outside the box of, oh, I need more sleep, so I should sleep more. And then getting in that cycle of feeling bad about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's what we do. Oh,
Yeah.
I should sleep more. Yes, all of us.
Yeah.
But we're not going to, because you're trying to get stuff done and the kids are young and
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like this is a good way to go into boundaries, which is also another thing I've been working on, which um, is a new expression for my soul that's been needed like my whole life, really. And it's very empowering, and it's shifting a lot of things, but like boundaries and uh, to support health and life at its best, and boundaries as medicine. What role can boundaries play in our physical health and energy?
oh man, boundaries is the first one that I tackled when I was like 21. I had real boundary problems.
Yeah.
I did. I grew up in like a rat pack. Like I have a lot of siblings and like a tribe mentality. And so
Mhm.
nothing really belonged to me. And like, you know, things were like taken from me. Like
Yeah.
there were no boundaries in my home.
Yeah.
So anyway, you're asking what can it do for our physical health?
Uh-huh.
It can
And
change
energy.
everything.
Yeah.
And
For sure.
energy.
Yeah.
It can change everything. Everyone's boundaries are different. Um, you know, knowing your limits is the key, like one of the keys to remaining grounded, which is what we started off talking about.
Hmm.
You know, we don't have to focus on limits, but we need to be aware of what we are really capable of accomplishing in a day or in a year, you
Hmm.
know, however you want to think of it. So when we honor what our boundaries are, I'm trying to think of a specific one so I can be, let's see. I have so many. um so when I'm living my life honoring my boundaries, the fact of the matter is, if I'm in a situation where it can't be honored for some reason, because I'm at an airport and they're, you
Yeah.
know, like I'm not, and I'm surrounded by people and my boundary, my personal boundary is not going to be met. Okay. It
Hmm.
becomes okay because I know that I can return back to this safe place of maintaining my boundaries. So I created like if we can stick to our boundaries and communicate them to people, um, then we our central nervous system is relaxed. We have our immunity is boosted as a result because we trust ourselves that we can create a safe space for ourselves no matter where we are.
That is very true. Safety in the body through creating boundaries.
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of things have shifted in my body since I really paid attention to creating boundaries. It's data. It's data when it comes, it shows up in the body as proof that boundaries do create safety and health in the body.
Yes.
So when we feel embodied in our health and our bodies and our energy as women, how is this a form of leadership and strength? Yeah.
Well, so much of leadership is being observed, coming how and I'm sorry, say the question again. It's about how we walking around embodied.
Yeah, when we are embodied in our health and energy, especially as women, how is it a form of leadership when we're embodied health and presence and nervous system when we're regulated and embodied?
You are literally giving people hope, everywhere you go, that they can be healed too, which is the best news.
Yeah.
You're like a beacon of light for them. Just by that they're going to be healed by the experience of knowing you, of interacting with you. Because we all know people have jealousy, right? But we all know deep down inside that if somebody has something that we can have it too.
Yeah.
And so it at least being healed at least creates wonder within people. It starts with the curiosity, and that can help lead them to their own healing and embodiment in energy. Not to mention that to be a leader, you have to be energetic.
Yeah, for sure. You have to have energy to share. Yeah. So if someone listening today feels overwhelmed and disconnected, what is one loving place that they can begin?
If they're overwhelmed or disconnected, begin with your breath. And when you breathe deeply, just to start to get the central nervous system to relax, you can say to yourself, I'm overwhelmed. I'm not doing so well. Like, be honest with yourself and say, and it's okay. It's okay. Start there. Not trying to change anything. Yeah. But just being overwhelmed. Just here I am. Meet yourself where you're at. Show up, just like a mirror, like a reflection, and tell yourself that it's okay.
Yeah. Radical self-acceptance through breath.
Yeah. Let it be real.
Thank you. Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you, Noelle, for your wisdom and your grounded presence and your energy and strength and support. You inspire me and it gave me a whole bunch of ideas to implement right off the bat in 2026. I'm sure the listeners are going to appreciate it as well. So I'll link Noelle's information in the show notes so that you can continue to grow and to embody and live in our meat suits with more joy and strength and presence. So once again, thank you, Noelle.
Yes, thank you so much, Jackie.
Thank you for sharing time and space with me today. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Your support helps keep this podcast alive. And together, we thrive. I'll meet you here next Thursday. May your week be abundant and blessed. sound of Om, we say everything.